Pledge of Allegiance. Let's rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next is approval of the agenda, which I just handed out to everybody. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, I will support that. So we have a motion and support to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, approval of minutes from the May 20th, 2024 meeting. Actually, that is the wrong date, isn't it?
Was it May 20th? I thought it was Monday.
No, it was. You're right. It was later because that was the first time we could get together.
Yeah.
So. Okay. It's not our normal time, and that's stuck in my head because of what Heather had asked us about. When are we meeting? It's like, so then, minutes are here. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I entertain the motion to approve the minutes. You had an amendment.
Well, they're in there.
Okay.
It's in there, so.
All right, got it.
And I will support that. Any additions, corrections, or changes?
Nope.
Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. We don't have any public, but I did have an email from someone who actually wanted to attend our meeting last month and didn't know where it was. So I had emailed, not sure if it's her or him based on the name, and was thinking they might show up tonight, but if not, we might see someone interested at a future meeting.
Good. May I ask a question?
Sure.
So are the other members, Tom or John, is there any other members?
There are no other members.
Okay, so no one's absent.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. I have no correspondence to report. Director's report. Again, I'll just give a verbal update on, so since we last met, we've not had, so we're still not on Charter Spectrum, and that may still be a little while. But other than that, everything on YouTube is going relatively smoothly. So again, we're getting all city council and commissions videos submitted, and then Filer Township, Manistee Township, and DDA, although I've not been able to attend the last two DDA meetings. And with the DDA, since that is a city commission, it's really their responsibility to have their meetings recorded. I've been doing it kind of as a service because I used to be on that board and was interested, but it's kind of starting to become a time sink. So I'm probably just going to tell them that they need to figure out a way of doing that.
They don't have them in here.
They have them over in the West Shore, one of the West Shore classrooms, but those rooms have video capture capability. So they just need to figure out how to use the equipment that's in those rooms. So.
You said Filer, DDA, and what was the
Manistee Township. So, can't think of anything else that's under that umbrella of Director's Report. So then moving on to full business. So We had intended to have a special meeting, work session, but both of us were not feeling well at that time, so that ended up getting canceled. I think I would like to take tonight and reschedule that.
Yeah.
Because I want something that's a little less formal.
Mhm.
We can just gather around, and yes, it still needs to be a Open Meetings Act, public meeting, but without any real agenda and
Sure.
formal business, and we can just sit around a table and, you know,
Brainstorming.
do that in a more loose format.
And Tom needs to be here as well.
He doesn't need to be. And again, we had that conversation last time, and, you know, he said if he has the time, he
Sure.
can, but it's not something that I think he needs to be at.
Okay.
So is there, looking at your calendar, a time to do that?
I was good for next.
I noticed that, and I was gonna
Yeah.
suggest, how about next Monday?
Yeah.
So,
The 8th?
it would be the 8th at this time, 6 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay.
Here? Oh, well, you'll find.
Yeah, well, assuming it is available, and Tom can check on that, it would be here, and if not, we'll
Okay.
notify over email, where we end up.
And maybe we can circle back to some deliverables for that meeting. We can talk about it now, whatever you'd like.
Actually, now would be a good time to talk about that, and yes, that would, and so, I mean, so we each had some homework to do.
Right.
So we can probably just give some updates on that, even though I don't necessarily want to go into a lot of details, but just kind of
Sure.
figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I went around and looked at, examples of mobile calendars.
Mhm.
Some just free ones like WordPress examples. And then I looked at like calendars around here, who's doing some calendars, like, I didn't bring my PowerPoint with me, but, the Chamber of Commerce or Visitors Bureau, and I think it's Visitors Bureau. The city has some stuff on their website as well. The hospital has some things. So I just looked at who's out there and then
Yep.
just some examples. I had already looked at some,
Was the library on your list? It
it
should be. I used to be on that board, so I know that that was something they put energy into, but I know they've switched web platforms since then, so I don't know what the new incarnation looks like.
Okay. And along with like looking at some calendars is like different examples for when, because you mentioned branding, like
Mhm.
if like the library's gonna post what's their branding or whoever, like how that would work when you upload that with the submission upload. I had looked at the charter or the rules previously, and have some examples of that. The thing I didn't, anyway, the branding, the submission, like the rules around how you submit to make it as autonomous as possible, where there's not another human in the loop.
Yep.
I need to do more on that, because I didn't really get to that.
Mhm. And that's something I think would be a good topic in the work session, is just to brainstorm and think through different use cases and
Yeah.
scenarios around that with, multiple brains thinking about it at the same time.
Yep. And so, yeah, I have a PowerPoint with a few things
Oh,
in it that I
good,
started
good.
just jotting down.
Good.
That I'll have on Google Docs, I can clean up, and
Okay.
share over the weekend.
Did you look at any calendars kind of outside our community?
Yeah, I did.
And
Yeah.
did you find, I'm just curious, did you find anything interesting?
Yeah, there
I mean,
was,
again, we can't, given what I think the needs are, we're not the capitalist.
Right.
So I'm just curious as to, did you find any good examples?
yeah, and there was actually like 10 best community calendars, like built with like WordPress, for example.
Okay.
And like the Forest Service had something on there that they use for in Oregon or something. And then there was some communities on there, and it went everywhere from super simple
Mhm.
to like all of them you like clicked into, right, and then went into the event. But some were just like bare bones, and others, like the Forest Service, had included maps and different things like that on their calendar event. So I did look at some of those examples as well.
Good.
Yeah, and I'm thinking for this, especially in version 1.0, is probably clean and simple, as, unless you want, what we can talk about next week. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
how much
Right.
wow factor you want.
Well, I think part of it is, and it's just part of what a brainstorming should be. Is You brainstorm, you don't have constraints.
Right.
It's like you're really thinking about what is the ideal. And then you have to come back and, okay, if that's the ideal and we're nowhere close, what are good steps to take?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't do good brainstorming if you're always concerned about all your constraints, because then you just don't
Sure.
come up with good ideas. And sometimes what seems hard, you might find a creative way of accomplishing it.
Right.
So.
I did have a question, because in looking at the, I don't know if it was the tourism, is it Tourism Bureau, or is it?
That's what it used to be. Now it is Manistee Tourism? Yeah, it's the Manistee Tourism Authority, so
And
we
they-
go by Manistee Tourism.
Okay, and they have they have about half the content, which I think would probably go on this other calendar as well,
Mhm.
right? I mean, like half, I'll call it municipal or city, and then the other half is community.
Mhm.
And they have a lot of that on there already, so I was just kind of thinking through differentiation, or if there is even needs to be any, or if that information can be housed in two places, or just how that would,
Right.
what your vision is on that.
Right. I mean, since I sit on that board, their mission and focus is very specific. They don't really care about residents, and I don't say that
Right,
they
right.
don't care. What they're trying to accomplish is to get people from outside our community to come visit.
Mhm.
So therefore, the nature of the types of things that they're gonna have in their calendar are gonna be much more focused on that.
Mhm.
It's not something designed for residents, although obviously that can be of interest to residents too. So, but because of that, there are types of things that, we might be interested in that they're not, or, the library might be interested, so.
Yeah.
But I do think they probably have the most comprehensive
They do.
out there, just because, well, they probably have, actually, they don't have that many staff, but again, it's just their mission of, they have to look professional, they have to look attractive, appealing, and,
Fresh
yeah.
content.
Yep.
And the Painted Lady has karaoke on Friday evening. Like, I didn't know that. I think I saw it on the calendar. I'm like, that's kind of interesting
Right.
that that's on that calendar.
Yeah.
So it is like even business, which I know like that's not something we're thinking about necessarily.
Well-
Like that, I don't know.
I mean, and that gets interesting, is, what are the rules of
Right.
what's appropriate and what's not appropriate?
Right.
And I'm not opposed, from a brainstorm perspective, there's nothing that I would say from the get-go is, off the table,
Yeah.
but,
If it's within the rules parameter of.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Whatever the rules end up being.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I can think of things that would not be appropriate, but I think it's in a community standards.
Yeah, I know it when I see it.
Exactly.
So the goal of next Monday, 6 o'clock here, would be come with some ideas and just start putting up a brainstorming session on what this thing
Yeah,
could look like. And
We probably should have either flip charts so we
Yeah.
can draw and save, or, whiteboard. But the problem with whiteboard is if you run out of space, then you erase,
Yeah.
you don't have a.
I'll get a flip thing.
Okay, but yeah, just things to dump ideas onto,
Yeah.
would be good. So, yes, to what you're saying, and that being a mechanism to capture that. I also want to take a stab at trying to hypothetically use a website, and not any specific website, but just, you know, the concept of a website, and kind of walk through what I'll call a use case or use case scenarios. Okay, it's, you know, a resident that lives in Filer Township, and they heard about us, and somehow we got them to come to the website.
Mhm.
For someone who doesn't know anything, what should their experience be like? Versus, you know, it's one of our 500 YouTube subscribers that, you know, watches every city council meeting already. What is their experience like? You know, there's a whole different, there are many different users out there that will eventually interact with our website, and we just need to make sure that we are presenting information in ways that are logical to different use cases.
Yeah.
And just kind of start brainstorming, well, what are those types of people? What are they looking for? And how can we present it? Because, you know, as we've talked in the past, you know, this idea of calendar and kind of that type of community information, and then the videos and kind of that type of community information, those are completely
Right.
different. How do those get exposed and seem like they're complementary? Obviously, you know, in the calendar are the meetings that then get recorded, so, you know, there's, you know, potential for links going that way. But, you know, things like, should the calendar for, you know, a calendar entry for city council meeting, should that, in that calendar entry, you click on it and the agenda pops up.
Mhm.
Draft minutes for that pop up, so you
Right.
kind
Level
of got,
detail.
and then later, from an archive perspective, oh, well, now there's this event that happened, here's the agenda, here's the minutes, oh, and here's the video of it, and it's kind of like the historic archived version of those
Yeah.
meetings, or those calendar
Right.
events. You know, karaoke, where there's probably no assets associated with that from an archival standpoint, but, you know, for the other things there is.
Nobody wants to remember. Yeah.
So again, those are different use cases,
Yeah.
but how do they tie together? And just starting to walk through and thinking about that.
And I mean, do you know, like, off the bat, like, parameters that would be set because it is using public funding?
No,
Okay.
I mean,
Because it would have to get approved by the city anyways, right? So.
yeah, I mean, our budget has to be obviously approved, but the only requirements around that really are if we are utilizing Charter Spectrum's broadcasting capability, then a set of rules apply to what can be put there.
Okay.
But from a website perspective, you know, there aren't.
Okay.
And I would say, and one of the things I've been thinking a little bit about over the weekend, you know, without a revenue model,
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't work. So we also have to think about ways of, you know, bringing in revenue. So is, you know, do we start advertising? Which again is one of those things that we can't do on Charter Spectrum. We can have sponsors, you know, a la PBS, but you can't have paid advertising. But for things outside of that realm, we can. So, you know, is that something that we should consider? You know, you know, for the calendar, I mean, it probably doesn't make sense to charge people to post their event.
Right.
Because
You won't get any content.
you won't get any, but it may be reasonable to charge people to use that data. So if we take on the role of being the central clearinghouse, maybe the Manistee Tourism Authority pays us because theoretically we're doing some of what they currently have staff doing.
Mhm.
So we're saving the money, so maybe there's compensation that way that can, you know, help sustain the things we're trying to do. Now, again, that's maybe not where we start in brainstorming,
Right,
because
right.
then you quickly get into the, oh, if we can't afford to do anything,
Right,
then, you know, why are we thinking about this? It's like, well, let's think about what we want to do, and then figure out how we do it. And, you know, funding is a how.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I rambled there, so I'm not even sure I answered
No,
your
no, no,
question.
that makes sense. I didn't ever think about, funding, because I know there was, you know, about like selling advertising, that's like a whole different thing, right? Or how do you generate some revenue off the site?
But if you think about,
If it has traffic, you can make money. But,
right, and if you think today, you know, Facebook is a platform that a lot of people use to do some of these things, you know, publish and make events out there. Well, they have a revenue model that
Mhm.
works, and, you know, so.
So we collect people's information. Yeah. No.
Hopefully not.
No.
but-
And is there a unique URL, or would it already be under Manistee TV, or you would make a new?
Well, way back when we had talked about this, and actually another site to look at is onekama.info. And I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name who kind of, he's a big supporter of Onekama, and he spent a lot of his time on basically fostering that site. And they do charge for advertising on it, because I get solicited every year. But, and they've got calendar, they've got, it's an interesting attempt to do similar things, and, you know, we use that as some ideas for that. But anyway, that domain name, onekama.info, kind of has that generic appeal. So
Mhm.
we have manistee.info.
Okay.
So that's kind of, I mean, I think TV gets dropped in the name, although we may keep it and redirect it so that, you know, they both work. But I think something like that, and it could be something different, but that's one we have. So I do think that, you know, a different domain, is just kind of part of what we're trying to convey. And that had come up in the past.
Okay.
So we do own that domain.
And Manistee.com went to the tourist. I think it referred to the tourist.
Manistee, no. Manistee.com is actually owned either by the school district or the ISD.
That's it, that's what it is, yeah. School district.
Visit Manistee is Manistee Tourism.
And this is .org.
And
Or
we
.gov.
are ManisteeTV.com. I also have ManisteeTV.org. It's not used, but just don't want anyone to take it. And I think I even have Manistee.tv, but
Okay.
so yeah, there's
choices.
yeah.
Okay. All right, so next Monday, 6 o'clock, brainstorming here. Okay.
So those were what things you looked at. So I was focused a little bit more on technology, and so the video server platform that I've been experimenting with, it is now fully populated. So every one of the approximately 1,700 videos that we have in our YouTube channel are now migrated over, and every time I edit, one syncs up. There are well over 2,000 hours of content that's been archived over the last decade, and so that's all there.
Searchable by
Uh,
title or?
Certainly by title.
Okay.
It is categorized a little more granular than what's on YouTube.
Okay.
And that's also part of thinking about this is, you know, On YouTube, there's basically a big bucket that has everything in it, because that's how kind of YouTube works. Since it's, you know, a platform that's similar to YouTube, but we're the only ones using it, you know, basically, like, each set of meetings is its own channel. So where that makes a difference is, like, right now on YouTube, if you are interested in subscribing, you have to subscribe to everything. You can't pick and choose. I'd like that to be more granular, so that what you care about is what you subscribe to. Kind of like also on the calendar, so what you want to be notified about for events are, you know, more granular than just
Send me every calendar.
send me a daily list of everything that's happening. It's
Yeah.
like, no, that's probably not, I'm not interested in everything. How can that be accomplished? So anyway, I've got all that syncing and working, and it works surprisingly well. And again, as I was kind of alluding to, I was starting down the path this weekend of just seeing if there were available options on this platform to do advertising. And there is a plugin, but it currently isn't operational, so I can't actually see how it works. But because it's a plugin, I now have access to the code, so it'll probably just be a couple days to create something that could, that direction we want it to go. I'm intrigued by it, just because small businesses within our community don't have a lot of good options to advertise.
Right.
And, you know, maybe there's a synergy there, as we don't have to be expensive, but, you know, we're helping you, they're helping us, and at the end, it's you know, because I know as a small business owner myself, I mean, I used to rely on the newspaper for certain types of advertising, but as their market dwindles and their kind of demographic is shifting away from the demographic I'm interested in, that's not something I do anymore. I'm just trying to think the last time I did. But then everything beyond that is completely fragmented. Yeah, I use some Facebook advertising and some Google search advertising, but there's 100 platforms, and you know, there's, you know, YouTube video. I mean, there's all sorts of things, but there is no good. How do you really touch a percentage of the community? So, as a small business owner, that's something that intrigues me too. And you know, again, if we can be a destination of the local community or those interested in Manistee, that then becomes appealing to those that care about that audience, which, you know, are potentially small businesses.
Hence the need for great business rules on submission in fear of like alienating some business owner who's advertising and they see like some nonsensical. You know what I mean?
Yep, yeah.
It's gotta be
They're,
very clear
yep,
cut.
yep, yep.
Okay. Is that what's the name of the platform?
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure if I can figure out, remember what my password is. It's called PeerTube. It's the
Like Peer Network?
PeerTube.
Huh?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But again,
Look it up.
it's an open source software platform.
Oh, it's not, it's just the software.
It's just the
Oh,
software.
I got you. And then you're building it somewhere else.
Correct.
Okay, and you're putting it on the server.
A
and everything.
server that I
Yeah.
have access to.
Okay,
yes.
gotcha. All right. Yeah, Peer2. All right.
But obviously their website explains what features and
Okay.
capabilities it has. So,
Okay.
But then, you know, thinking about platforms, you know, WordPress, it's going to happen with calendars and video and all these things. Because at the end of the day, it's a repository for video. Doesn't, we don't even need to use its interface. The interface could be, you know, put into a
Transferred.
WordPress,
Yeah.
you know, thing. So there are different ways, a lot of different ways of accomplishing things. But again, that's further down the road.
Sure.
It's the part that I am interested in and I have, you know, background in. So, but
It's good to see you excited.
I am,
Yeah, yeah.
I am a little bit excited about
Yeah.
some of this stuff.
Especially like having a useful, because it is true, like, I mean, I use Facebook for like information around town,
Yep.
and you see a lot of, I go on it a couple times a week probably, to
Mhm.
buy my baked goods, for example.
Yep.
And there's a lot of commentary about the organizations within this, like, they take care of the tourists, but they don't take care of us, right? Like, the bridge is an example of like, some brouhaha associated with around that, where people are like, oh, they care about the tourists because now they have the bridge open on the 4th of July, but what about the rest of us? And to that point, that's probably very true for like the other websites that are advertising. It's so shotgun approach that it's not concentrated. So yeah, like, I'm, to your excitement, like, I think that's a really good idea to have it a centralized place for locals to gather information.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Now, I mean, and as you're describing that, you know, do we want to be, you know, a platform for discussion and things? And I just see how some of that goes on other platforms, and
Yeah.
it scares me.
Yeah.
So I you know, would say we start there.
For
But
sure.
again, when we brainstorm, those concerns shouldn't be limiting factors. It's like I mean, as you were just talking about, it's like, makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's where do people spend their time online?
Right.
It's often discussing things, and, you know, if we want to be a place to do things that are, you know, targeting that local audience, that makes sense as a component, but it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely.
But again, you know, for brainstorming, we don't have to be constrained by our fears.
All right. Good. Looking
I'm
forward
trying to
to it.
think anything else. No, I don't think so. So I think that is a good enough conversation about rebooting PEG.
Yes.
So charter spectrum agreement, quite frankly, I forgot about this until late last week, so I didn't even follow up until on Friday. So I am still waiting for a response.
Okay.
And that's our old business. And then new business, since we're kind of rebooting our meetings, we probably should just verify what our meeting schedule is for the rest of the year, since there was some confusion at City Hall this morning as to whether we were meeting or when we were meeting in July. And it's like, I hope we're meeting today, because that's what we're planning on. But again, if it's not published under open meetings, we can't legally meet, so. But
When it says publish under open meetings, what is actually, does that mean just on the city's website? Or is there like an actual open meetings, like portal?
no, it basically means on the city's website, and generally, I think they physically post things downstairs
Okay.
as well.
There's a bulletin board.
Okay.
So that's what I mean, that's how City of Manistee adheres to the Open Meetings Act,
Okay.
putting the information in those places.
So I'm good with the continued,
So my only question is looking, well, the holidays that fall on the first part of the month and possibly Mondays could be Labor Day. So I just wanted to see when Labor Day was this year. But other than that, I mean, August, October, November, December, that should be fine. So Labor Day is the first Monday,
It's the second, yeah, and then,
so we obviously can't meet then, because this would not be available to us
Right.
on a holiday.
and maybe by then we would have enough other stuff to do, like a one-off somewhere in between or something.
Well, normally we would meet on the second Monday
Okay.
of September, so if that's okay with you, let's
Yeah,
just
fine.
plan that. So the first Monday of the remaining months.
Yeah, I will be gone the 5th of August.
Okay,
Um,
so
I'm in
then
New York.
are you here the second
Yes.
Monday?
The 12th.
Okay, so, and then, okay, October, November, December,
Yeah,
are those okay?
yeah.
Okay, so let's meet.
September, October, November, December. September the second.
So let's
So-
plan the second Monday, the next 2 months, August and September, and then the first Monday, the remaining.
It's not the second Monday in August. The second Monday I'm gone. No, the 5th I'm gone, you're right. Yeah, so it'd be the 12th, the second Monday.
Thought I heard you.
Yeah, second Monday, August,
In September.
September, and then October, November, December is the first.
By the end of the year, we'll be requested to come up with our calendar for next year.
And is someone, Tom, do you tell Heather that, or?
Yeah, I can, so with just looking at the calendar, when we go to July on the 8th,
Mm-hmm.
you guys were talking about meeting on the 8th, right?
Yes, yep.
Okay, it does look like there's a tree commission meeting at 5 o'clock. I'm assuming it's done by 6.
Okay.
And that, but just so you know, there is a tree commission meeting at 5, so,
So
but after,
we'll meet after that.
okay, so that does look like it is possibly open.
I've never attended a tree commission meeting, it might be interesting.
Look at my
Yeah.
calendar.
And then August, it does show on the calendar August 5th that we have reserved.
Right,
That one's not gonna work,
that's not gonna work because we
Okay.
won't have a quorum.
so we're looking for August 12th then?
Yeah, so I'm assuming that would be.
So if I look
commission as
on
well.
August 12th, there's just a tree commission at 5 too. So, you know, if those are done by 6, it looks like you're clear.
Okay, so let's plan on that, and we'll find out next week if their meetings tend to be long, but
Yep.
I don't think they are based on the videos that I
Okay.
did.
Then in September, you are down already for the 9th,
Uh-huh,
okay? So it looks like the 9th is reserved for you already.
and that makes sense because we would have had the same conversation about Labor Day.
Yep, yep. And then you were looking at October?
Yep,
October 7th.
probably what we're down for.
Yep, looks like you're down for the 7th. And then November 4th. Yep, then it looks like it's following that first Monday out.
So the only change is the special work session next Monday, and then moving our August
Moving August
to the second Monday.
to the second Monday. Which is the 12th. All right, I will check both those out tomorrow,
Okay,
6 o'clock.
yep.
For next Monday, do the notes for this meeting need to be?
No, that's, no, we do business at the regular meetings, and that's intentionally, we don't try to
Okay,
focus on other things, so.
sounds good. All right.
Okay.
Perfect.
That takes us to the end of our agenda. So, does anyone have anything else to add?
I do not.
If not, motion to adjourn.
I
So moved. You moved?
move
To adjourn. And we are at 6:41. I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Adjourned. Thank you.